Hello. I don't know if this is my first time ever doing this, so it's going to take me a second to figure it out. Let's see. It says I'm live. Let's see if I can figure out if anyone is here. If you are on, will you just comment and say you can hear me? If anyone is there. Like I said, this is my first time ever doing a YouTube live. Oh, I have a thumbs up. Maybe that's a good sign. Oh, let's see. I wonder where the chat will show up. Thank you for grace. Learning how to do all this as I go. Let's see. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. Let me see if my husband is in there. Maybe he can send me a video or let's see. Oh, okay. He did the like. Okay, so it's working. Okay. Hi. I'm just going to give this a few more minutes before I start my story, my autism story. We just closed the playground. I close at noon on Mondays. And I figured this would be a great way to connect with the autism community a different way for anyone who cannot be here. So thanks, babe, for the thumbs up. Okay. I don't want to make everyone wait forever. I just wonder when I get a comment where it'll show up, if it will show up. Maybe I should turn off my, let's see, if I get a notification. Okay. I guess I'll just get started. So my name is Heather Dearmore. I am the owner of Colors of the Alphabet Indoor Playground with my husband. We are a family-owned business. And we wanted to help out children with special needs and especially autism so that they would have a place to go and be able to be themselves and play freely, and families could have a place to bring them without judgment and they could feel safe and comfortable. So I am also an autism mom. And I used to be a teacher. I taught for 2 years. And now I'm doing this. Now I run the playground, and I am over almost everything. My husband included. We run everything ourselves. We don't have any staff yet. It's just us doing everything. So when you see something done, it's either him or myself. Okay, so today I am going to just share our autism diagnosis story, just because when Acacia, my daughter, got her autism diagnosis, the first thing I did was try to go on YouTube, which where we're at right now. I tried to go to YouTube. I tried to go online to find stories about girls with autism. They were very difficult to find. You hear a lot about boys with autism because that was more boys were being diagnosed than girls. So it was really difficult to find girls with autism. I wanted to find maybe like kind of like a someone for her to look up to in a way, or someone for me to see and know, okay, that could be my daughter's future. But I couldn't find that anywhere. So I had no idea what an autism diagnosis meant for her. So I kind of, now that my daughter is older, she's 8 now, I wanted to just be able to share our journey so that other moms of autism kiddos, boys or girls, could look to our story and maybe have some comfort and knowing that everything's going to be okay. It's a difficult journey, but it's a difficult journey for neurotypical parents too. So we all have our ups and downs. And so I just thought by sharing our story, maybe it would help someone. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'm just going to start from the beginning. So when Acacia was born, I always knew she was a different baby. She was not like babies that I had ever dealt with, or not dealt with, but been around and introduced to. I remember hearing that, oh, she's going to be your first baby, so she's going to be super easy. That was not the case. So from the very beginning, I knew she was different. She had to have a very strict routine, a very strict schedule. If I didn't have her down for her naps at the right time every day, it had to be like 2 hours awake, 2 hours asleep, 2 hours awake, 2 hours asleep, 2 hours awake, and then down for the night. And then if she wasn't asleep by her bedtime, it ruined everything. So I knew from a very early age that she needed her routine, she needed her structure, and that's when she worked best and thrived, and she was the happiest. So I still remember that I have notes over here. Just that's what I'm peeking over at. I still remember the first time she ever saw the alphabet, and I remember how locked in she was. And I'm looking at I'll share our alphabet wall here, which was inspired. It's actually called Acacia's alphabet. I remember she saw it on the TV. I think I had turned on Little Baby Bum on YouTube, and she saw it, and she was just locked in. It was like love at first sight. If you're writing a love story, that was Acacia with the alphabet. She was obsessed, and I truly believe she was learning to read even at like infant age, which is so crazy for some people to hear that and think, but I truly believe that. So at her 18-month checkup, I'm just going to kind of fast forward a little bit. At her 18-month checkup, she wasn't talking yet, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, she's with me all the time. I was a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't need to talk. I'm doing everything for her. Why does she need to say anything? The doctors gave me, like, when you go to check in at the 18-month checkup, they hand you a clipboard and they're like, hey, fill this out. Let us know. I had no idea what I was filling out, so I was just honest, and I answered the questions. I thought some of them were odd. Like, if you roll your child a ball, will they roll it back to you? I thought, well, I don't even think we own a ball. So no, because I didn't know what to say there. So I put no. I was trying to be honest. And then if you ask your child to go get their shoes, will they go get their shoes for you? And I thought, no, I get her shoes for her. I'm her mother. So I remember thinking, these questions are crazy. I don't understand what's going on here. So I answered them honestly. And when I got back to her appointment, I found out that it was an autism assessment. I had no idea really even what autism was, what autism meant. I remember we had to wait in the what's it called? The exam room. We had to wait in there for a while, and they make the baby like strip down, and they're just in their diaper, and there were no colorful pictures on the wall. I even remember thinking, like, this is so weird. This is a doctor's office for kids, and there's nothing fun on the wall. If you've ever been to our playground, we love color. I'm obsessed with all things bright, so I wanted it to be fun and bright, but that was not how the doctor's office was. So by the time the doctor came in, it was about 20 minutes later, and Acacia was very frustrated because there were no toys. There was nothing for her to do. She was just kind of crawling all over mommy, and she's in her diaper and frustrated. And so then the doctor starts talking about autism and bringing up the fact that she's not talking yet. She's not making eye contact yet. I think Acacia had grabbed the popsicle stick that they use. I know it's not called a popsicle stick in medical terms, but the one that they would use to look down her throat. I think she grabbed it and tried to break it. And the doctor was like, oh, this is a big red flag. And I was just like, okay, what's going on here? And so she brought up the word autism. And by this point, I was just like, I was like an out of body experience. I just remember I had to leave. I didn't even want to finish out the appointment. I got Acacia and I left. And I called her dad, who I was married to at the time, and I was crying from the car, and he met me at a playground. And I just thought about the doctor. I thought, how dare you make me think of my daughter any differently, because I just saw her as this perfect little child. I didn't think that anything was wrong with her. And I still don't think anything's wrong with her. I don't even like using that term. But the way the doctor brought it up to me, it was not very good side manner. bedside manner. Did I say good side manner? Bedside manner. She wasn't really gentle about it. It was just like blunt. Here it is. I think your daughter might have autism. I think we need to look into autism. So the first thing I did after that was I got her a hearing test to make sure that she could hear properly, because maybe she wasn't responding to her name because she couldn't hear me calling her name. Well, we did that and she passed. So there was no issue with her hearing. Let's see. I did a lot of research. I love to do research. Dr. Google is one of my good friends. Late at night, I'm laying in bed looking up things on Google. So I found Dr. Rios in Grapevine, Texas here. And I was able to, I have no idea how, because I had heard so many stories about people having a wait list of like 6 months, 9 months, forever to get a diagnosis. And I think a lot of people still deal with that. But I was able to get her in rather quickly. So her 18-month checkup was in, I want to say December of 2018. I think I did a late appointment. Let's say May to November. Yeah, I think it was December of 2018. And then I was able to get her an appointment with Dr. Rios early February. So we only had like a month in between there. And again, I have no idea how I got in that quickly. I like to just think it was God opening the door for me. So with going through an autism diagnosis with Dr. Rios, it was 3 appointments. The first one, they do play. And there's a woman who comes in and observes Acacia playing. So she's in this room full of toys. And I had no idea that Acacia was playing incorrectly. I didn't think anything. Again, she was my only child. I was a first-time mom. I just saw her as this perfect child who plays in her own way, which I still, to this day, she still plays in her own way. And I have no problem with that. So, I remember the woman, she was Dr. Rios's assistant. I forgot what her title would be, but she was very nice. But she explained to me, what she's doing is not how children should play. The fact that she would just kind of throw toys around is not right. When she would bring bubbles to play, like to do bubbles for Acacia, she wouldn't do any sort of she wouldn't ask in any sort of way like that she wanted more. She would just kind of stand there and wait for the lady to go. Like it wasn't like a sign language where she was asking for more or saying more or like making eye contact to like initiate more. She just kind of stood there waiting patiently. And the lady said that that's something that we look for, is how is the children expressing that they want more. So she's come a long way, because she would definitely ask for more now if she were being reevaluated. So we received the autism diagnosis at the end of February 2019. And Dr. Rios recommended and referred us, gave us a referral for full-time ABA therapy. We have actually never done ABA therapy. So I just took that and I looked into options, and I'm the type that if a door opens, I'll go through it. But if I'm getting turned down, I think of that as God closing a door on me and not wanting me to go through that door. So when we got the diagnosis, we did not receive a level. I think they had just stopped using Asperger's as a diagnosis. They used to use Asperger's and autism, Asperger's for high functioning and autism for just lower functioning, I guess you could say. I'm not a medical individual, so I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, but we just got a flat autism diagnosis, no level, nothing. But I do know that now they give levels when you're getting diagnosed. Dr. Rios had told me that she was still too young because she was so little. She was only 18, she was 20 months old, and she was completely nonverbal at the time. So he didn't want to give her a level. So he told me to come back for a reevaluation in about 18 months for another for the level. But I've never done that because I don't really need to know. I think, again, like I've said like 14 times now, I think she's perfect. So I don't need to know what level she is. So from there, we went to, I contacted ECI, and we started with the state of Texas ECI speech therapy. We had a wonderful therapist. Her name was Crystal. I'm still friends with her on Facebook. She's super sweet and amazing. We started with speech therapy with her. So she would come to our house and we would do something that she referred to as blanket time. I'm not sure if that's like a no pun intended blanket term, but she taught me basically how to work with Acacia. So she would come once a week, and then all the other times that she wasn't there, I was working with Acacia. So we would put like her favorite toys that she couldn't play with any other time of the day, and they were in like a little basket. And then when I put the blanket out on the floor, we would sit in that blanket with those toys, and she couldn't have those toys any other time of day. So it was like exciting for her. And that was where we worked on trying to get words to come out. So, playing with her, using our words to describe things, trying to get her to ask for things. If she got off the blanket, then we just put everything away. There were times where I saw Acacia, like her wheels were spinning. You could see it in her face that she wanted to say the words so badly. There were times where she would just start sobbing because you could tell she was frustrated because she wanted to say the word and it just wasn't coming out. So I did see a lot of progress with that, and we would do evaluations every few weeks just to see how she was doing, and she was always passing everything. She always did so well. I did also change her diet around that time of her diagnosis. I did cut out a lot of like processed foods, and I read a book called The GAPS Diet. Highly recommend. It's not like anything that I'm like, oh, you have to do this, but I don't think there would be anything wrong with doing it if you're looking into some other options. But I really do think like cutting out processed foods. And again, I'm not like I'm not in the medical field, so I'm not like telling you what to do. This is just my journey and how I feel. But I did see a lot of progress with Acacia when we did that. So she ate a lot of scrambled eggs, because she was still very picky. She did a lot of scrambled eggs, and I would cook them in coconut oil, and we did a lot of smoothies. So trying to get those fruits and veggies in with smoothies. And that was it for a while. And now she will not eat my scrambled eggs, probably because she ate so many during those few months. So she started ECI in March of 2019, and by her birthday in May, she was starting to talk. I remember the first word she said, which isn't actually a word, but I took it as a word, was goki. And she was trying to say monkey. And her favorite stuffed animal was from Barnes & Noble. She had a Curious George monkey. He was in his pajamas. She still has one at my house. And now her dad has bought her a second one at his house because that was just her favorite toy for so long. And then at Mansfield Public Library, they had this little tiny monkey stuffed animal. It was so cute. And I remember every time we'd go to the library, she would run in and look for that little monkey. And so at that time, her favorite animal was a monkey, and she would just say Goki, and it was just the cutest thing. And then we were leaving the park one day, and I had my keys in my hand, and she like picked up my key and said key. So I think Goki and key were very easy for her to like transition to, but I think key was like her official first word, which was very exciting, because then after that, words just started coming. I had a list of words as she was saying them. I was able to just jot them down, and before I knew it, I couldn't keep track anymore. The words just kept coming and coming. That summer, I believe it was like July of 2019, she came to me with a flashcard. She used to carry flashcards around everywhere, and she would have like one in each hand. But she came to me with a flashcard, and it said quail, and she handed it to me, and she said, quail. And I was like, because I had always thought she was reading, because we would go to the library when she was like not even a year old. I was taking her to the library, and she would sit there with the little board book, and I'd see her like skimming the pages like she was reading. So when she came to me with that flashcard and said quail, I knew she had been reading, because what other 2-year-old would have known that that was a quail rather than just a bird, or like it had a picture of a little bird on it, but it was a quail. I don't know any other 2-year-old who would know that QU make the qu, and I don't, again, I knew right then that she had, like, it was for sure that she had been reading that whole time. So, I think it's called, I don't want to say the wrong one, so I'm going to look it up right now, but I think it's called hyperlexia. Let me see. Yes, I think it's called hyperlexia. I truly believe Acacia also has that. It says it's a syndrome, sounds like a bad thing, where a child can read at a level far beyond their age, often before age 5, without prior reading instructions. So people would ask me, how did you teach her how to read? And I was like, I didn't do anything. She just learned how to read on her own. And I still don't know how that happened. I guess it's just a miracle from God. I don't know. There's no other explanation for that. So this is called Coffee Connection. So I hope you have your coffee with you. I love coffee. My favorite things in life, well, my priorities are God, my husband, our children, and then coffee, and then graphic tees and jewelry and turquoise. And so after that, she just kept making really good progress. We just stayed on that path. We were doing ECI. We were working with her a lot. I started taking her to like group sessions. Our therapist had like, hey, I'm having this meeting at a Fort Worth church on Wednesday. Do you want to come join us? And they would do water beads and try to get the kids to interact and try to get them to talk more. And so I started doing as much as I could with that. I did end up getting, I'm not going to go into it on this video because this is all about Acacia's diagnosis, but I did end up getting diagnosed with cancer the same year that she was diagnosed with autism. So she was diagnosed in February of 2019. I was diagnosed with cancer in November of 2019. So during that summer where we were making a lot of progress with her speech, I was also kind of falling apart because I was in a lot of pain and I didn't know what was going on with my body. I can go into that another day, maybe. But the parallels are a little crazy when I sit down and think about everything, how it all happened and lined up in the end. But she's 8 years old now. She's come a long way. We've had challenges. We've had difficult days. We've had difficult moments, but she is doing really well now. And I remember my mom told me, when Acacia did get diagnosed so young, she said, you're going to want to go back and thank that doctor, your pediatrician, for diagnosing her so young or bringing it to your attention so young, because she didn't give the diagnosis. But and she said something like, you're going to want to bring her cookies one day. And I'm still not there yet. As grateful as I am that she brought it to my attention, I don't think she did it in the right way. I don't think she was very gentle about it. Again, bringing up my cancer, but I remember when my orthopedic surgeon who did my cancer surgery, when my first appointment with him, he sat in front of me and looked in my eyes and said, you can relax now. I'll take it from here. Like, I will help you. But that wasn't really what I got from that pediatrician out in Mansfield. So I'm still not quite there with her, but maybe one day I'll go in and thank her. But so Acacia is, she's in school. We've never done ABA. We've actually never done any sort of speech other than the ECI very early on. She did go from ECI. We took a break because I was in chemo, and then that other C word happened and everything shut down. So then she started with the preschool in Keller when she was 3, because she had been in ECI. She started with the early childhood intervention, ECSE. So what's that called? Early childhood services. I should have looked that up, but you know what I mean? Like the preschool with Keller and Birdville, all of those around here with us. She just like leaps and bounds, made huge strides during that time. They started her in one class with a teacher that I loved, and then they moved her to another class. And I was so sad because I love that teacher, but it was like, but she's making progress, so I have to be excited here. So she did amazing in that, and she loves school so much, and she's just come a long way. I mean, at an early age, when she was first diagnosed at 2, it was hard to even walk in a grocery store with her. I'd have to keep her in the cart because I was afraid she was going to run off. And now she walks with me. She'll put her hand on the cart if I ask her to. She really only runs off if she sees something incredibly exciting that she has to go see, and she gets like focused on. But other than that, she's doing well. She's at school. She goes into the general ed classes for all the main subjects. She gets inclusion time. She is in the SPED class for most of the day, but like I said, she goes back and forth. So she gets her general ed classes in. And she's just come a long way. I'm really proud of her. So this last week, she walked herself into school. Usually there's an aide there to meet her, but there was no one there on Friday. So I asked her, do you think you can walk yourself to the door at the drop-off line? And she said yes. And then her aide texted me and said, I met her in the hallway. She's doing great. So that was like a huge step too. Funny story, last night I was wearing my thrifted, all my graphic tees are usually thrifted. I was wearing my thrifted Taylor Swift Eras tee, and I was getting her out of the bathtub. So she was like eye level right here. And she said, I want to be a Swiffy. And I was like, Swiffy? What is a Swiffy? Like, she's been talking a lot about Secret Life of Pets. So I thought, is there a pet on there named Swiffy? I didn't quite understand what she was trying to say. And then I looked down at my shirt and I realized, oh, are you trying to say Swifty? And she's like, yes. And I looked at my shirt, and nowhere on my shirt did it say Swifty. It just said the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. So I was like, where did she hear Swifty from? I don't even know. She cracks me up every day, and she's so smart and so funny. So that's basically the gist of our autism diagnosis and a very quick rundown of where we are now. I'm happy to answer questions, but I know there's only like a couple of you on here, so I don't know if I have any questions. I do want to add a couple things, because when you're first getting your diagnosis, you're very scared. You don't know what this means for your child. What does this mean for their future? And obviously everyone is different. There's autism spectrum is very wide. That's why it's called a spectrum. And being here at our playground, Colors of the Alphabet, I meet a lot of kiddos with a wide range of abilities and gifts. A lot of them are very gifted. So that was something I was going to go down that road. Even when you get an autism diagnosis, it can be scary. And going from where we were then to now, looking back, they say when you get the diagnosis, it's a relief. And I do feel like that was kind of true, but I wasn't wondering what's going on with my child. So it wasn't like, now I have an answer. Like, I do hear that a lot where people say like, well, I've always wondered and now I got the diagnosis, so now I'm relieved. I do know it opens doors. A lot of people struggle with getting services because they don't have that official diagnosis. So once you get that diagnosis, it will help you a lot. But if you're about to get that diagnosis or you've just gotten that diagnosis, I will tell you it will get easier. As they get older, it will get easier. We just did summer camps here, and I had a little kiddo who struggled to sit at the table with us. And I kept telling his mom, it's okay. It's going to happen. When he's ready, he's going to sit at the table with us. And I know Acacia used to grab her snack, take a bite, and then run around and play. And then come back, grab a bite, run around and play. So that's just how it is. But I do think that when they are ready, they will do what they're going to do. I do think they are all created perfectly. I think they all have amazing gifts. I've met a lot of kiddos here who can do things that I'm just amazed. I have a little boy who was with us for summer camps. He speaks very minimally, so I would say nonverbal, and he was writing out the Russian alphabet for us. So, I mean, I don't know the Russian alphabet. So we all have our gifts. You know, like I said earlier in my video when I first hopped on, neurotypical parents have challenges too. There's, you know, I've always said this, I don't think I'll ever have to put Acacia in tutoring for math or science or anything like that because she's so smart, but yet she'll always have speech at school and OT, and they'll be working with her on all that. So I think our kids just have their gifts and their challenges, and we just have to kind of be the best parent and the best advocate we can be. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. So, okay, it's been 30 minutes. I didn't know how long I was going to stay on, but I think that's a pretty good amount of time. I do plan on doing this every Monday, unless we have a holiday. So like Labor Day, I won't be on here, but I do plan on doing this every Monday because I want to be able to share different stories. If I get questions that somebody wants me to answer or talk about, I get a lot of people who come into the playground for their kids can play, but then they want to ask me questions and get answers and my thoughts and find out resources. And so I want to be able to help even if you can't come into the playground to talk to me. So that's kind of what I'm doing this for. And we'll work on some other topics of conversation. I'll brainstorm, or if you have any ideas, feel free to email me. When I post this, I'll try to go in and link everything. I'll put my email and our website and any events we have coming up. If you are local and watching this, which probably all of you are, we have Parents Night Out coming up. I have toddler time on Tuesdays, story time. I'm going to be reading books. And then I also create the coloring pages to go along with the book. So it's custom to that book. This Saturday, I'm doing Sensory Saturday. So I'll have custom homemade sensory bins for them. So lots of fun things at the playground. And our playground is for all children. When we created this space, we thought about Acacia and what she would like, and kids like Acacia. So it's very custom to kids on the spectrum. But like I said, all children can come and enjoy it. Even neurotypical kids come in here and love it. And so that's what we're here for. And it's sensory friendly. I get a lot of parents who say, it's so nice and quiet in here. So it's not like a typical indoor playground where you've got screaming kids and tunnels and high, everything is floor based. We had a lot of challenges with Acacia going up into tunnels, and then I'd have to go up and climb and find her and bring her down, or send one of my stepdaughters to go help me get her down. And it was too hard. So, yeah, that's why I think I'll do another video, maybe bribe Scott to come on with me, and we can share the story of the playground and how we started it and why we started it and the journey to get here for that. But that'll be another video another day. So, okay, I am going to wrap it up, and I'm going to clean up the toddler area before I go pick up Acacia at school. But like I said, I will put our email in the comment or in the description, and our website. And if you have any questions or any topic ideas, let me know. And I'll see you next week at this same time. Bye.